Usually when I travel, I'll bring a Sony camera, an A7R5 or the FX3, and a variety of lenses with me. But this time when I went to Japan, I only brought one lens with me, and it's this one right here. This is the Viltrox 85mm f/1.4 FE Pro series. I was looking at the newly released at the time, the Sony 85mm f/1.4 GM Mark II, and that was at least around $1,800. When I picked up this Viltrox lens, it was around $478, and after all the taxes and fees, it came out to around $525. For a fraction of the price, I was able to get a 85mm f/1.4 lens. $500 is still quite a lot of money, but when comparing to $1,800, and now if you want to pick up the GM2 from Sony, it's priced at $2,050. I spent 2 weeks in Japan. I really wanted to challenge myself to just shoot with the 85mm prime, and spoiler, I was very happy with the photos that I got. I just wanted to go over the construction of this lens and just how it feels. First thing that I noticed when I took this lens out of the box is that it has this sound when you rotate the lens. There's something inside that's moving, and I thought it was a broken lens. Here's a 90mm Sony lens. It's a macro, but there is something very faint when you're moving in it, but it's not as apparent with this 85mm lens. Second thing is, it just feels really well built. So for $500, I'm very surprised at just how good this lens feels. On this lens, you'll find a programmable button right here, a autofocusing and manual focus switch, the aperture ring that can be declicked, and then the focusing ring out here in the front. If you take off the lens cap on the back, you'll notice a USB-C. I believe this is for updating the firmware. So the lens does feel really well built, but how do the photos look? This first photo is from a place in Kumamoto. It's a park called Suzenji Park, and this was one of the few times where I thought the 85mm lens wasn't long enough, and I wanted something a little bit longer so I could punch in more into this duck or bird right here. I actually have no idea what kind of bird this is. It's not a duck. I don't think it's a duck. I couldn't physically move myself closer into the water to get a closer photo of the bird with this 85mm. I think I got something that showed off what the park looked like, as well as focusing on the singular wildlife in this photo. The 85mm is often referred to as the ideal lens for portraits. It has the most ideal amount of compression or the least amount of distortion when it comes to portraits. With my normal 16-35 or 20mm, like this type of photo, I just wouldn't really be able to get with that wide of a lens. There was these horses that are just out there grazing and not really minding the people, as long as the people didn't get too close to them. Look at this shot of this horse. I didn't think I could be in love with a photo of a horse. The amount of detail that you can see on the rope that's on the horse, as well as on its mane, the fur, the hair. So at this field, there were these, I don't know if it's wheat or grass or whatever it is. This field had a lot of these long pieces of grass where I was trying to use it in the foreground that would partially obscure, hoping that it would add some sort of depth to this image while shooting pretty wide at f/1.4 here. So even when we were back in the city in Fukuoka, there were some images that I could get within the city that I was really happy with. One of them was a food photo of our coffee at Fukuoka Coffee, and we got this ice cream dessert over, I think it was flan. Even while we were waiting for mentaiko bread, took a step back and tried to capture some of the other people that were just waiting around this shop and see if I could get something interesting. And you know what, these little moments, my absolute favorite photos that I got from this trip with this lens was while we were at Takachiho Gorge. I was able to get a long exposure of this waterfall. Doing long exposures with waterfalls, you get the trail of the water pouring down the waterfalls. This has been my absolute favorite image that I got from this trip, and even trying to zoom in and get photos of the people in the boats in in the kayaks, or not kayaks, in the rowboats. I just love these photos, just how they came out. Now, while the photos look really nice and sharp, I did have a chance to get them printed at the Epson booth at Adobe Max. This is the first photo. One thing that I noticed is just this center here, the boat, it's not as sharp as I think it could be as compared to, you know, the details of the specks in the water or this rock. I don't know if you can see that. Not exactly sure why it doesn't look or feel as sharp upon closer inspection, but from standing far away, it looks pretty good. Thank you, Epson, for entertaining me and letting me print out my photo. This is the photo from Takachiho Gorge of the long exposure at the waterfall. I have a lot more experimentation to do, but overall, I think the photo, even like when printed out, came out looking pretty nice. Overall, I'm really happy with this lens and the shots that I got in Japan. But if I were to pick a 85mm lens today, I probably wouldn't get this one. I still don't know if I would get the Sony 85mm 1.4 because it's still a couple $1,000s, brand new. But I would actually look at Viltrox's new f2.0 85mm. That one looks like it's a lot smaller, and the f2.0 weighs at 340 grams while this one's supposed to weigh at 800 grams. For traveling purposes, I would probably pick the 85mm f2.0 just because it's smaller, it's more compact, and it's lighter. It is a trade-off where I don't get the aperture of f/1.4. Instead, I'm going down to f2.0. But when it comes to traveling, I think having a smaller, more compact camera that you're willing to travel around and carry out and bring with you is a camera that you'll be more likely to use. Because there were many times during my trip where I didn't want to bring the A7R5 plus this 85mm out just because it was on the heavier side, and there were times where if I'm too tired or if I felt like there wasn't going to be enough space for me to bring this camera around, or if I wouldn't have that minimum focusing distance, I just chose to leave it at home or in the hotel and just didn't bring it out, and I brought something else. Anyways, that has been my little review of this 85mm lens from Viltrox. Even though I do quite enjoy this lens, I think it's quite an impractical lens for traveling. I am looking at, you know, the Sigma 20-200 or the Tamron 25-200, but you know, those are $1,000 each, give or take, more or less. But you know, having that wide of a zoom from 20-25 all the way to 200, I think having an all-in-one zoom lens like that would be really great and very convenient for travel. Just, you know, variable aperture I haven't really used in quite a long time. Let me know in the comments what your go-to lens for travel is, and I'll see you in the next video.